So before we continue into the video, a quick shout out to today's video sponsor, JerseyFifa.com, the home of all of the greatest football kits. Whether that be the new latest releases or the old classic ones like this, Jersey FIFA has something for everyone, and now you can check it out yourself using the link in the description down below. And also make sure to use code JerseyFIFA for 10% off when you order. Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where today we've got something a little bit different. Of course, over the past few months, I've been suggesting or talking about loads of different players which Manchester United could potentially sign this summer. Today, rather than splitting this up into 3 different videos, because I think they're players people know a lot about, I want to pick a league and talk about 3 players that should be signed from that league. Today we're starting with the French league, Ligue 1. We will do another video on La Liga, maybe Bundesliga, Serie A. Let me know which league you'd like to see. But today we're starting with Ligue 1. And we're going to look at 3 players which could maybe come into the Manchester United team this season. Now, the idea being that United wouldn't sign all 3 of these. United could maybe pick one of these 3 players and put them in the team. And I believe that all players we've spoken about in the past. So let's just get straight into it. Number 1, Maxence Caqueret, one of my favourite players in Europe at the moment. Currently plays for Lyon, the young French midfielder. He's been really very good this season. Now, he's had a bit of a positional change in the way that he's played this year. However, I still think he really suits the profile of what Manchester United need. I've been tipping him with a move to a big club ever since I started the channel, really. He's a really good player. So in terms of what he would bring to United, for those of you that don't know or are perhaps a bit newer to the channel, he would play in this left central midfield position. In this area here. Now, in terms of what he would bring, in terms of attributes, Caqueret is a very press-resistant player. Someone which would want to drop into these areas, receive the ball with his back to play, drop a shoulder, turn and carry the ball forward. Something which United currently do not have in their squad at all, but certainly in midfield. This player that can play with the back to play, drop a shoulder, turn and play out of pressure. United desperately need that. Something else which United need and what Caqueret provides is ball carrying ability. So not only can Caqueret kind of beat the first phase of pressure, he can then also carry the ball forward. He's a very, very good progressive dribbler. On top of that, he's also a good progressive passer as well, a side of his game which has really developed this season. In the past, I might have questioned it a bit at times, but this season he has really improved his progressive passing. Playing the ball through the lines into the likes of Marcus Rashford potentially next season, or let's say Luke Shaw was to push higher, or even the striker's feet. Caqueret would bring a real good passing ability to the team. Now, in terms of the extent of his passing, it tends to be more short and medium length passing. He's not really someone which is going to switch to play out to the opposite winger, and that is an area where I would like to see him improve, moving forward. However, we've kind of seen all the hints there that Caqueret is a player which can constantly improve and constantly grow and wants to learn new things. Because a year ago I would have said he's not that creative in the final third. But then this season, he's actually upped his creativity levels massively, and now he is genuinely a good creative midfielder in the final third. So what we can see is that he would help United in all 3 phases of play. In terms of that first phase, being press resistant, helping the team play through pressure, the middle phase, progressing the ball with both his passing and his dribbling, and then also the final third, he has creativity. Add on top of that the fact that he's brilliant off the ball, he's very tenacious, covers a lot of ground, and loves to play in a high pressing system. I think it's pretty clear to see why I think Manchester United should really be looking at Maxence Caqueret from Lyon this summer. Now, another player which United could be looking at from Ligue 1 this summer is another midfielder, and this time it's Enzo La Faye of Lorient. Now, this young midfielder is a player which has been linked with Manchester United kind of on and off through the season. He's a player which 12 months ago people wouldn't have been too familiar with, however he's really improved his game this season and gone on to another level. A bit like Caqueret, he would be signed to play this left central midfield position in this sort of area here, so again we're kind of addressing the same problem in the team. This is the sort of area where Enzo La Faye would like to play. Although to be fair, he could also be a potential backup to Bruno Fernandes. Now again, we're not going to spend ages talking about La Faye because like with Caqueret, we've covered it quite in depth before. But one thing that Enzo La Faye would really bring is ball carrying ability. Is he a player which is going to drop deep and be press resistant in the first phase? I'm not too sure. We've seen glimpses that he could do it, that he could potentially have the skill set, but we haven't really seen it enough for Lorient because from a tactical point of view, that isn't his current role in the team. His role is to play a little bit higher and carry the ball forward. He is also good at moving the ball forward with his passing as well, particularly his short passing. In terms of medium and again long range passing, it's not really something we see from Enzo La Faye, and his passing percentages could do with improving if he was to make the move. He is the sort of player, a bit like Bruno Fernandes times and also a bit like Eriksen at times. He is a player which will overturn possession because he tries some quite risky passes at times. However, when they come off, it's really very effective. But for me, it's his dribbling, it's his ball carrying, which really would offer something different to this United team. A bit like Bernardo Silva when he was playing in the Manchester City midfield. That's the sort of idea that you'd be getting from Enzo La Faye. Someone that again can drop a shoulder, carry the ball forward. And I can't stress the importance of that enough. When the opposition are kind of set in their defensive structure like this, they've got loads of men behind the ball, the ability to kind of go in a 1 versus 1 situation and beat your player is huge because it drags someone else out of position, which potentially frees up room for someone else. So the ability to kind of take responsibility and carry the ball forward yourself is really hugely important in the modern game. And Enzo La Faye is the sort of profile which would bring that to the team. Now on top of this, he's also going to offer bags and bags of creativity in the final third. You know, he's got the number 10 on his shirt, and that is often how he plays. He's a very creative outlet. A bit like Bruno Fernandes. Of course not to the same level, but being much younger, La Faye has plenty of room and potential to grow further. And I think in the final third, he would be a better replacement for Eriksen than what Kakare would, in the sense of, in the final third, what he's going to provide in that area. The other thing that Enzo La Faye would provide in the final third as well is set pieces. He has a very, very good set piece delivery, something which United have struggled with for years. They're one of the worst set piece teams in the Premier League, both offensively and defensively. Signing Enzo La Faye could go some way to addressing that because his delivery from corners from both sides and also free kicks into the box is genuinely very good. Add to the fact that he can also provide some goals as well from the midfield, and you find yourself someone who can quite comfortably replace the attacking side of Christian Eriksen's game. Kakare would be more about improving in the deeper areas and in the middle phase. Enzo La Faye would be a bit more about kind of replacing what Eriksen brings to the final third. So again, I genuinely think he would be a good signing. He works very hard off the ball, he wins a lot of his duels, he's good at pressing super high up the pitch once again. Enzo La Faye for me is a player which again United should be watching. Now we might as well finish off the video with a third midfielder, but this time a midfielder which we haven't spoken about so much. Turan. I'm not sure if we've ever mentioned him on the channel. You guys probably remember better than me, let me know if we have. But whilst he may be a midfielder like the other two, and whilst he would probably play in the same position as the other two, again in his left-sided midfield position, he is very, very different to the others. Kakare and Enzo La Faye are both quite small midfielders, low centre of gravity which are good on the turn and twisting agility. Turan is not that. Turan is massive, well over 6 foot tall, a very big, strong frame. A bit like Paul Pogba. However, like Paul Pogba, his height should not deceive you into thinking that he is a clunky player, because Turan's footwork is absolutely brilliant on the ball. And once again, what we have here is a midfielder who is brilliant at carrying the ball forward. Now, in the past, he was kind of misprofiled. Due to his large frame, people thought that he was a defensive midfielder, and I don't think that is the case for me, because he's simply too good going forward to be used in more defensive positions. Now, the good thing is, he can still use that defensive work higher up the pitch. So, whilst he isn't a defensive midfielder, he's not a ball winner, he can kind of take some of those actions, those attributes, a bit further up the pitch. So yes, on the ball he's going to bring you a lot from an attacking sense, kind of like Paul Pogba. He is much more defensively complete. He will win a lot of duels in midfield, he's good in the air, those long legs of his allow him to stretch out, intercept the ball, and also tackle an opponent, which is very good for ball recoveries in the middle of the park. He'd also help more defensive situations as well. On the edge of his box, he's better than both Kakare and Enzo La Faye, and of course Christian Eriksen in these areas. So he would be a massive upgrade from a defensive point of view. But importantly, I still think he contributes on the ball. He's very good at carrying the ball forward, as we've said already, and he is also a decent passer. He's never going to set the world alight, he's not a particularly high volume passer at this moment in his career, but maybe he could go on to become that. In terms of areas which he needs to improve, it would be things like his passing, kind of becoming a more dominant player, but also his creativity in the final third. Turan is without doubt the more defensive option of the three. He will not offer you the same creativity in the final third, although what he would offer you is long shots. Now again, the sample size of this is quite small because of Turan's role currently for Nice. However, when given a license to step forward, get into the attacking third and the final third, Turan has a very, very decent long shot on him, and he scored a few very decent goals this season from outside of the box, so that is a weapon which he could bring to this United team. And I think we can maybe kind of see the difference between the three players here. We've got Kakare, who would really be that first phase specialist, really good with his press resistance, getting out of the press, and then progressing the ball from the middle third. If we're talking about Enzo La Faye, we're talking more about a player which is going to pick up the ball in the middle third, or the second phase, and progress to the final third, from where he has bags and bags of creativity. Turan, on the other hand, is a bit more of a box-to-box player. He's not really excelling in any particular area apart from his ball carrying, but from a defensive point of view, he offers you a real robust nature to the midfield, which the other two simply can't offer due to their size. So these are three very different options. Now, if it was me personally, I would be picking Kakare of the three as a Manchester United midfielder, just because personally I like the idea of a first phase player. However, as we know, Erik ten Hag does like the idea of a more advanced state, so maybe Enzo La Faye could come into the team. However, also at the same time, he likes players which are able to defend in deeper areas and provide some versatility as well. So there is certainly a world where Turan could come into this team. And genuinely, I think all three of these players would be an upgrade on Eriksen, either in possession or out of possession, depending on what player we're talking about. I think all of them would bring a real youth, energy, exuberance to the team, would improve the team from a defensive point of view, whilst also improving the team's ability to kind of play through the pitch and progress the ball. They're all really good ball carriers, and that's why for me, I think they're all really good options, which Manchester United could sign from Ligue 1. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Which of the three would you like the most? What do you think of their strengths and weaknesses? Of course, today we've only really scratched the surface on all three of these players. If you want a more in-depth video on any of them, let me know in the comments down below. But apart from that, thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I will see you in the next one.